Simon, thanks for your time. We'll start with the big news that Herman SASA is free to play against Huddersfield on Friday night after being cleared of that verbal abuse charge. What was your reaction when you learned that news?
Yeah, obviously happy. Herman's been great for us this season. Played really well for us the other night for big spell again. Often things get said on the field and they're left there more often than not, but obviously there might have been a difference of opinion in what was said, but I think they've got to the bottom of it now and obviously moved on, and we can just put that one behind us.
From the playing sense, as you said earlier, how relieved are you to have him available and not losing for a lengthy stretch, given he was building momentum in terms of performances?
Yeah, I think the grading obviously would have suggested if he was guilty of it, he'd have got significant game time, significant time off field, which wouldn't have been good for us. We've got a lot of lads training at the moment. A lot of them are still young men, young boys, and we're trying to fight our way out of it. So losing Herman wouldn't have been great for us. We're grateful that's been drawn to a close. Obviously Herman's had that hanging over him for a week or two, wherever it was, which hasn't been nice for him. But yeah, that's done now. So yeah, we just move on with it.
How is he at the moment?
He's good. Obviously relieved he didn't have to go any further.
Mm-hmm. How will you and the club help him? I know in the statement the club have said that they will, provide him as much support as possible for a man who's only just moved over here and has had to deal with that. How will you look to support him in that regard? Yeah,
well, I think with it being a positive outcome in Herman's case here, I think it's different. The support would have needed to have been there. It'd been a negative outcome for him as a person, or for us, obviously us as a club. But he's fine, getting on with it. As I say, it's behind him now. Move on.
London Broncos have said they're going to seek legal advice. Has the club had any kind of response from the Broncos about this?
I have no idea. I've seen the same press release that London put out as you would have. I've not seen anything else.
How do you think it's all been handled?
Handled by whom?
All parties, I suppose, given the turn of events in terms of evidence being submitted.
It's just how it goes. If you're not happy with what they see in the first match review panel, the evidence they have there, or whatever it might be, it moves up the chain. That's just the process to it. Like I say, we're out on the other side of it now, so we should move on.
I suppose just finally on this, we want the sport to be a place where players can come forward and not feel afraid to say if they've heard someone make a comment towards them, but in the same regard, we also don't want someone to be their name dragged through the mud while they wait for a verdict. How do you think the sport can improve from this, perhaps?
It's probably not a question for me.
Mm-hmm. Moving on then, in terms of your team news, last week you said you were going to try to get to the bottom of Joe Cates' back injury. What have you found out in the last few days?
Yeah, Joe, he was in a lot of pain, so we knew obviously there was something off there. He's got I think it's a bulging disc, putting a bit of pressure on a nerve in his back. So I think he's got to see a consultant around what the possibilities are, rather than just the conservative rest and hope it gets better. What other options we've got, but yeah, he'll be certainly a few weeks at least on the sidelines.
Any other long-term absentees that you may have back this week?
No, we got a flashback obviously last week and Jack Ash off his thumb. No, that's it. Obviously Carlos is in the second half of the rehab. I don't know exactly how far along he is, but he's running out on the field. He looks good when he's out. He's not in with us yet. He's still doing the building stage really, but it'd be nice to have him back in the coming weeks. But yeah, I think that's about it.
And I know you mentioned it on Friday night, but clean bill of health from the Cascade, nothing has cropped up since at all?
Just usual bumps and bruises. It was a tough game, quite a physical game, I thought, when I watched it at the time, obviously watching it after. Tough game, so yeah, just the normal bits and bobs you'd expect.
And it'll be a recurring weekly question, this one, but you've still got Tiaki Chan for this game, Huddersfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can keep him, for a decent amount of time. Obviously Wigan have got some great depth and getting a look in there has been difficult for him. That's why he's here and he's shown some really good stuff. He's still young and a baby in the sport, if you like. He's got a long way to go, but he's got a lot of good qualities that we're thankful is with us at the moment.
And then the other way, 3 players going out on loan over the weekend, including Denis Bounforth. Why hasn't he been able to get a look in this season? I know you've played a lot of youth, but perhaps your hand was forced. Why didn't he manage to get his way in?
Well, he's had a couple of opportunities and had a couple of good moments. I think that I'm not speaking out of turn here because Denis knows this. He's been told it from me and people before me. But if the game was picked on moments, Deneve probably plays. He's probably in that team a lot more often. When I mean moments, I mean the highlight, sharp run out of dummy half. These little things that he's certainly got the talent to do, but it's all the bits in between those moments that need to improve. Playing 9 is up there with the hardest physically positions on the field, particularly when you're not such a big fella either. And his fitness, he needs to improve. He needs to be tougher in that regard, and get more of those moments closer together. And that only comes through being fit and having a really good go at that side of things, because the talent's definitely there with Deneve. It's up to him whether he wants to challenge himself to be in a position to make more of those moments more often. And the opportunity's there for him. He's got to go and make it work.
Is this a make or break period for him then?
I don't know. He's still quite young, Deneve, isn't he? But the penny needs to drop.
Mm-hmm. Looking at potential selection dilemmas for you, Morgan Smith making an impact during the game at Cass. What chance has he got of a greater role on Friday night?
He'll probably play more time. I think he was good for us off the bench. I thought Danny was great on field. I think the last 20 minutes we all decided to play, so I think that probably accentuates what Morgan did for us. Don't get me wrong, he was good, but I thought Danny did a good job for the other, however long he's on the field, 60 minutes or so. So yeah, Morg just needs to build on that, because that might be his role now moving forward, the bench 9 sort of spot and covering the half as well. But yeah, we were happy with him the other night, but the old boy's still going pretty well as well.
Well, from old to young, and Logan Moy, you were pleased with him as well. How will you utilise him moving forward?
Well, obviously he's not our only full-back option. We've got Wacker as well, and if we needed to, there's other things we could move around to sort that full-back spot out. But I thought Moy showed what he is. Bundle of energy, good. Obviously the club signed him, tied him down long term. What would the plan be for him? Keep trying to improve him every week, help him learn. Again, he's a baby really. He played 9 in the academy, a lot of hooker, where he's coming in, we're having a look at him at full-back, and so it's a tough position as well. It'll take a long time for him to master it, I'm sure, but he's doing a pretty good job. We're just trying to help him get better each session really, and in terms of looking after him, if he's playing well, he'll get opportunities. If we feel like we need to pull him out, we'll put someone else in, and the same goes that Wacker gets the shirt back, Wacker plays well, it might be a while before Moy gets another one, so it's nice to have that option to be able to pull him in and out.
You mentioned Jack Walker there. What did you want him to work on?
Wacker?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have a lot of time to work on it. It was only a week he's been out of the team. If he was out of the team for 6 weeks, we'd have something serious and meaty to talk about. But they just, against London, we didn't play well enough. There was going to be a couple of changes. That was a change that we had at our disposal because we had Moy in the background there. Moy was training well, opportunity to change it.
Looking back at Cass, you talked about it earlier, the freedom with which the team played during that final 15. How do you get that across more of a game moving forward?
It's probably a question for them. I think it's an age-old thing. You've seen it throughout football. It happens, all sorts of sports, where when all hope is almost gone, all of a sudden the energy you should have had in the opening stages, it turns up and you're able to really challenge opposition. I think for us it's just that lesson. Can we learn our lesson quickly? That you need to be doing that from the off and playing with that desire really to get on more players, ask more questions of the defence, because although I thought we took some energy out of Cass and whatnot in that first half, we made them make tackles, but I mean, making them make one-on-ones, making them decide which one they should be, when they have got to defend 2 people at a time, which one should they be going for, and again, asking them more questions which pull that defence round and get them less organised, so it's not 3-man, 4-man rucks, it's 2-man rucks you run into and you get a little bit of speed in your game. So yeah, there's definitely a lesson there to be learnt. We'll see if we get it this week.
What are the other lessons that you're looking to learn from the Cass game?
Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we were terrible discipline-wise, but just the timing and the area of the field in which we give them away, we just drew them back up our end, didn't we? But yeah, them are the main things really. Discipline and making sure we actually execute a plan, challenge opposition. We've got Truey's getting confidence again now. He looked good the other night when he was getting on ball. If we can get him on that ball more often, we'll be asking more questions. So that's the theme for us this week.
Huddersfield next then. How much is this game around combating the perhaps psychological challenge of facing them again, having already been thumped twice by Huddersfield?
That's long gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even know when that. It was a while ago now, and we haven't been great in between. We've been better in between. We've got a bit of a different team as well, lots of new faces, so I'm not too bothered about who we play each week. I think the aim is just to try and get better. It's been tough so far, and from game one this year, I know Tony sat and did these presses, and he was saying there's no magic wand. It took a while for the club to sort of fall from grace, if you like, if 2016-17 is the grace period, and it isn't going to change overnight drastically. Then hopefully we just try to make small changes that are going to help us, whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now, I don't know. That's not to say we're not focusing on trying to get the points, of course, but I think as a staff we're trying to be realistic and trying to lift the lads up every week, and we've done that this week.
I think if memory serves me correctly, the last meeting was in March, so when you look back to then and compare to now in terms of the number of players that have come in and out, how much has the mood changed since then?
I think the mood was getting better until the London game, and that knocked us off kilter again. And although we lost, obviously, against Cass the other night, I think the lads were happy with the progress they made in certain areas of the game, and probably surprised themselves that they actually are pretty decent players in there. They just got to pull it out a little bit more often, well, a lot more often. But yeah, confidence is a funny thing. It's like, it's in the wind sometimes, and you can't get hold of it once it's gone. But we just got to keep building, like I say, keep learning, working hard, and it will come back to us.
Huddersfield, I don't think they're going through a great patch, particularly either at the moment. What kind of shape do you feel they're in going into this game?
Well, they'll see us as an opportunity to get their confidence back, won't they? And it feels horrible saying that, but that's the fact at the moment. On the flip side of that, it's double-edged. I think they will be slightly wary because we're going to win at some point. They'll be up, and it's obviously not them, but they've had changes to their team as well, and obviously they are off the back of losing a pretty big game. You know, often there's a bit of drama around that. It's probably more outside than it is between, you know, the four walls of Huddersfield. So we'll let them worry about them. We'll worry about us this week, which we're trying to do more than we are the opposition, because we need to get our house in order before we start thinking about anyone else.
Just finally from me, how big an opportunity is this going into the Super League break and then looking ahead to a difficult set of fixtures on the other side of that?
I can't remember who we've got after that. I've not even looked at it. No, look, it's an opportunity to, I don't suppose the word's reset, because that would be nice, wouldn't it? Have it all over again and do some things a bit differently. But we'll throw everything at this week, and then we have an opportunity next week just to breathe a little bit and make some plans around how we want the next portion of the season to look.
Simon, thanks for your time.
No worries.
Right, Simon. You spoke about Harvey and Lewis and managing the two players after the Cass game last week. How are you going to do that going forward? Is it a case of who trains best, or there'll be occasions where Harvey's better suited and then other occasions where maybe Lewis is better suited?
I think horses for courses is always a bit of a thing you consider, but it will be around how they train really as well. A lot of things in amongst that, but Lewis has played 10 games. As I said prior to the last game, you'd probably argue Harvey could have played more by now if he hadn't have had his injuries and such. And after the weekend, I think Harvey deserves to keep his place in the team. I thought he was good, he was solid. Again, for his first outing at Super League after a while, I think it was Warrington the last time he played. I thought he did a good job, but that competition is what we need, and we need it in every position, throughout the first team, underneath that reserves academy, to get us to a spot where, you know, people are really fighting and training at the right level, so they understand what happens if they don't get to that level. So I think we're fortunate to have two good young players like that, in addition to obviously Brisk and Liam, who's trained with us today as well. That, you know, they're all capable lads and fighting for a spot.
So Brisk got 3 games back now since he returned to the club. What have you made of him so far?
Good pro, speaks well. Something I think we needed as a group. Some some verbal leaders at times, as opposed to, I think, Danny Houghton will be first to say he's not much of a talker. He does speak, and when he does speak, people listen, and he does talk a lot of sense, but a lot of his job is done with his actions on the field, which is great, but sometimes you need some voices in there as well to make sure the messages are going through, and he's been great for that. Good for our young lads, tipping them up on little bits, and I think he's added a bit to our play as well, with a strong carry in the backfield and a calmness on his edge of the field. So he's been a good acquisition, as we said it would be from the off, really. Not only this year but moving forward, it'll be great for not only the team but those young lads I mentioned there in particular.
Ben Reynolds obviously debuted last week. with Jake Truman, obviously, as a partnership. How important is it for that to grow now in the coming weeks and months?
Yeah, I think for a first game together, I thought we were pretty good. And again, we'll go back to the 20 minutes at the end of the game where we started getting those blokes on ball more often. We caused a lot of problems for Cass, and they made half breaks, a couple of breaks in amongst. And the more they play together, they will get better, won't they? Charles picked up a knock. Ironically, he's been playing against the bigger boys and not picking anything up, playing for the academy, but he'll be back in contention soon, so they have to make sure they're doing a good job, don't they? But just on Charles, I think we spoke about him and looking after him. Really nice to see him get back with his mates, and he had a really good performance for the academy as well, and showed why he's been playing with us. Opportunity to learn a bit for him as well and get a smile back on his face.
What is the knock?
I just took a knock to his knee. Nothing major, I don't think, but just something that's going to slow him down for a week or so, and we'll see where he's at. But we had no intention of playing Charlesley this week for the reserves anyway. We wanted to give him that smile on his face, go play with the lads he knocks about with, after what's been a pretty tough period for him. The intention was always to rest him this week, regardless.
How much does that show of his attitude coming back into the academy? Like you say, scoring the try, 4 goals, drop goal, a couple of assists in there as well.
Yep.
How much does that show that he's got the right ingredients, attitude-wise, to come back to that level and do it?
Yeah, well, he's a self-confessed rugby league nerd. He loves it. There's a few of them, the lads he knocks around with there. Hutch as well, the young 9 from our academy. They're out, days off, they're in doing bits. And if you come and see any training, Charles will always be the last one on the field, lumbered with all the balls and everything, taking them in because he's the last one using them. But he's putting time into himself, and if he continues to do that, he'll keep going upwards.
Huddersfield this week then, what's the key attributes that you're looking for from the start to get the result that you're doing?
I just want us to be brave. Not wait until you've been hit a few times before you start throwing a few back. I think that would be a start for us. And just our discipline and improvement in our discipline. There's a few really avoidable penalties we gave away just through not being smart. I think there's a couple of play 4 or 5 ones in their yardage which would just kill us. You back down your own end before you know it, particularly on a short pitch like Cass. So yeah, discipline. We've got to earn the right to move the ball, but at the same time, if it's low risk, we need to look at challenging the opposition as often as we can from minute 1, not minute 60 or whatever it was.
Defensively, looking it back, it looked like there was a few tries that were certainly avoidable. I think the Rowan Mills one's probably the one that springs to light there. There was a couple more as well, 3 from kicks alone, right? So. Yeah,
I think so. Try 1 was just a little clock off where we just didn't tie in. 2v1 full-back standard, everyone 9 out of 10 are finished, more than that these days. Well, so they 3 kick tries. We could do better. We could do better on them, and we bombed a few ourselves as well. So ifs and buts and all that, it could have been a different outcome, couldn't it? But yeah, we need to control what we can control. So that is making sure we're moving our feet when the ball's in the air, not just admiring the kick and thanking God we're not having to catch it, someone else is.
I suppose the message there: control the controllables, and you give yourself a chance.
Yeah, and that's it. We've been like that all year. We've hurt ourselves as much as other teams have been really good and pulled us apart at times. We've really have compounded that with our indiscipline. And just, I'm talking about low risk ball movement. At times we've tried to throw in the high risk movement when we haven't earned the right to do that. So we've been our own worst enemy at times. But I do think we have improved. I know London was bad, a bad day for us. But the 3 games prior to that, we started going a little bit of confidence. For whatever reason, we had a bad day at the office and that knocked us off kilter. I thought Cass, as much as the result, and people will probably get up maybe because I'm not too angry about it, but I thought it was an improvement. I thought Cass played pretty well as well. They controlled the ball really well. Again, we improved in some areas. We just got those things that keep recurring on us that we really need to learn our lessons on.
Just pick up on something you said there about getting angry. Is it important to stay level-headed after defeats and results when you don't necessarily get the wrong?
Yeah, well, I think coaching, generally the losses you hang on to longer. The wins you get over faster because you're always moving on to the next one. But I think the words were staying pretty stoic with it. It's never as bad as it seems, although it feels bad. It's never as good as it seems. All those things in between. But I just think we've got a long season. We've got plenty of losses under our belt, and if we start kicking stones and getting after each other within these, our 4 walls, this is really not helpful. And anyone who's been around it long enough they'll know that if a coach blows up once or twice in a year, it'll probably have its desired effect. If you're going to come in and kick the walls, kick the chairs over every week, it just becomes another he's off again sort of thing. So I don't think the lads know that they're not performing to the level they're capable of. They know that they're hurting themselves. Obviously we'll highlight it, and the video aftermath doesn't tell any lies when we're honest about what we've done. But yeah, kicking everyone when they're down is not. I don't think that's the answer. Particularly, well, not weekly. There will be an occasion where some honest truths are said, obviously. But yeah, I think you can only do it a few times. The hang of it.
Sticking together then.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've been pretty tight through this. We've got an expectant fan base from a rich history. We're not where we want to be. I keep saying it. I don't want to be the broken record, but we are going to get better. We've got blokes in the room that are slowly getting better. We just need to hang tight really in this bit. I know it's tough for our fans. They don't turn up to watch you lose or whatever, but they should know that the effort, I think certainly the last 4, 5, 6 weeks maybe, I think it's been there. I think it has been there for us. We just need to get a little bit better.
Cheers, Grix.
Hi, Simon.
Right.
You've already alluded to, sort of slightly alluded to the things that we keep reoccurring. One of the things that Tony identified while he was here was getting out the blocks quicker. And again, it seems like a London game, the Castleford game, that's probably let us down right at the beginning, and we're always playing catch up. How do you sort of instill that into the team?
Yeah, I don't think those 2 games you mentioned in particular, I think we were in them, like going set for set. I think we've been a team that's been the one to break first, if you like, which is disappointing, and that's something we need to get over definitely, because then I don't care what anyone says, it's as much mental as it is physical, probably more so the mental side of things, and when you sort of reap deja vu, I suppose, for us, but we need to react better, don't we, when those things do happen. But yeah, we definitely were the first to blink against Cass, but I do think we have been building the game and getting in it. We just haven't been the ones to take hold of it, and that's obviously an area we need to pick up on.
And how can you make that better for us then? Because obviously you can train all day and improve your physical fitness, but that, as you said, that
I think
mental...
that we need to get it right once, I think. It'd be a start, and get hold of a game and be in the ascendancy as opposed to chasing every game. If we do that, we'll get a little feel for it, and we'll soon realise and remember, for some of us, 'cause it's been a while, but remember that it's so much better to be in that position than it is to be the ones chasing it. So it's not, and again, it could be the discipline that I spoke about. We set for set, we give a penalty, they come up the field, the next one we just clock off for a second try. That's the recurring theme. We need to be tougher, don't we, when we do have those penalties we're giving away. But certainly being the team to grab hold of it, I think we've got some players there now back on the field, obviously in True. We've got Benny Reynolds, who's his game as he's running around trying to get on plays. We've got people that are going to try and make stuff happen. So hopefully we can be the ones to keep our eyes wide in those moments and come out the other side of them and give ourselves an opportunity.